Ooh, welcome back to the program. Mike Pompeo had something very, very frightening to say about the Central Intelligence Agency. Take a look.
When I was a cadet, what's the cadet motto at West Point? You will not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do. I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
My next guest is the author of Big Intel, How the CIA and FBI Went from Cold War Heroes to Deep State Villains. J. Michael Waller, thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be with you.
All right, so I was looking over some of the notes here about the Frankfurt School, and is the CIA, are our law enforcement and intelligence agencies the victims of the Long March? What the term that Antonio Gramsci created, or that you don't take over an institution with hostility, you take it over by infiltration.
That's what's happened exactly to us. It's been a long march that's been taking decades and generations to accomplish, and they've accomplished it.
Why have our intelligence agencies become susceptible to Marxists, radical leftists, globalists, and generally people that hate the United States?
Well, it started in World War II when we didn't have a foreign intelligence service and we needed to set one up quickly. So it was the Office of Strategic Services that was set up. The OSS did some great stuff in World War II, but that was fighting Hitler. But you had a lot of people who had joined to help Stalin take over our country after the defeat of Hitler. Many of them stayed in the intelligence community. A lot more went into the State Department, and even more went to academia to teach future generations of diplomats and spies.
But when did they turn the power inward? That's my question. Is when did the power get turned inward on we the people? You know, when you hear Mike Pompeo saying those things, well, I guess, part of having a spy agency or an intelligence agency is going to be lying, cheating, and stealing. But I'm old enough to remember when Democrats would say the CIA put drugs in the black community. Now, if you have any question about people like John Brennan, who was a communist, they question your patriotism.
Yeah. When Brennan enlisted in the CIA and they took him, even though just 3 years earlier he had voted to put a Soviet agent in as president of the United States. He voted for Gus Hall of the Communist Party. They brought him in anyway. And then it's not like he learned a counterintelligence lesson from this. He treated it all as a joke. So you had people coming in like that in the 70s, after the purging of the CIA of all the people who were waging the Cold War against the communists. You have people like Brennan coming in.
Again, let me ask why. Why would these people want to turn the, for lack of a better word, weaponry of our intelligence agencies against we the people? I mean, look, we can agree to disagree over domestic policy, but it seems like we have a strain of people in our colleges and universities, dare I say now in our military, and according to your book, in these federal law enforcement intelligence agencies that genuinely seem to hate the idea of the United States Constitution.
Well, you said it just a minute ago when you said we the people. They don't view it this way. They view themselves as the governors of we the people. And they view people who say we the people as crazies. They have to protect the country against we the people. They're elites. They're globalists. They don't believe in our founding principles. So if they're in there and they believe that we're a racist country founded by racists, that our Constitution was forged by reprehensible dead white men, that everything it stands for is bad and it should be uprooted, and that it's oppressive, the system is oppressive, the church and the moral boundaries that we have are oppressive, the nuclear family is oppressive, everything should be ripped apart. And this is what the Gramsciites, as you quoted earlier, Antonio Gramsci, the cultural Marxists have been doing to tear us apart for the past 100 years. Now they finally penetrated the very bowels and nervous system of our intelligence services and our FBI.
Can it be fixed?
It can be fixed. Two ways. The citizens can do it because we don't understand, most of us don't, how the sheriffs, our local county sheriffs, they're the eyes and ears of the FBI on the ground, because the FBI doesn't have those resources. They need the sheriffs and law enforcement. They're all up for re-election this year. New candidates for sheriff are coming up. So we have to pay attention to our sheriff's races, talk to the candidates, talk to the incumbents, say, how can we help you do this? And if not, we're going to oppose you and your reelection. We're going to make an issue of it. So that's the one thing. The FBI can't operate to abuse people very well if it doesn't have the sheriffs on its side. Second thing is, we need a president coming in who has an agenda and a real plan and real executive orders pre-drafted to come in with a real loyal team to clean house, and not just clean house, but really reorganize our whole intelligence community. I think Donald Trump's team is doing that right now, where he learned the lesson from not having done it before.
Let me ask you this last question. We literally just interviewed James Fennell, who wrote a book about how we're basically selling out to China. And I asked him, and I'll ask you the same thing. Do you think some of these people in D.C. are envious of the kind of power that Xi Jinping and the Communist Party of China has, their military, their intelligence services, over their citizens?
Absolutely. I mean, we saw this with the Twitter files. You see, have San Francisco values running our big tech industry in collusion with cultural Marxists in the CIA, in the FBI, and there's control freaks, and then sort of well-meaning people who think it's their duty above and beyond the Constitution to protect us from ourselves. And they're calling us, violent extremists or potential violent extremists because we shop at Bass Pro and go to church.
Yeah.
That's what, this is what we're literally up against. And now we're being afraid to go to school board meetings and confront the weirdos who were elected to the school board who are trying to brainwash our children without us knowing it. And somehow that's becoming a crime.
It's funny that I'm old enough to remember when we thought Democrats were paranoid about these things. And now, it's starting to feel like, a little paranoia on our side, but it's also feeling a lot more justified. I think we've seen evidence of some of the things that we are rightfully complaining about versus the crazy pot-smoking conspiracy theories of the Democrat left. I got to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be with you.
All right. Up next, you know it, you love it. It's your guilty pleasure and it's mine. It's the Gutter, my final rant. That's next when Wilkow returns.